Okay, just for the record, I don't know how this video is gonna go. Many of you may have blocked this episode out of your memory, but it's in the run, so I'm gonna do a video for it. It's basically a clip show, so maybe I'll sort of do a clip show of my own. If any clips they comment on reminds me of something in the Overanalyzing Korra playlist, I'll comment on it. I really don't know how this one's gonna go. Gonna be mostly me commenting on what the characters say with nothing really new to comment on. Been dreading this one. Alright, here we go. You ever think like how insanely annoying it must have been to animate Kora? Like the character? With her belt and pelt thing and 3 distinct tassels of hair? All things that fly all over the place with movement, having to animate them all whenever it's called for, probably really added on to the time commitment for animation. I wonder why her design has changed so drastically in the season with horrible budget cuts. Yeah, so okay, let's get this out of the way. Those budget cuts I mentioned, yeah, so it turns out Nickelodeon slashed the team's budget to a tune of about an entire episode's worth of money this season, so the creators had 2 choices. 1, fire a bunch of people from the production staff weeks before the show ended, when they would have been naturally out of work anyway, or 2, do a clip show episode. If this is what we get, a clip show with a ton of reused footage that still tries to put some kind of interesting spin on it and a bunch of people still got to put food on the table, it was the right move. Asami's pool area has been updated. There was never any kind of room over here on this side of it.
You know, there's something about being kidnapped that makes a guy realize he needs to get his act together.
Yeah, I agree. Let's toughen you up.
Ah!
Whoa, hey, whoa, this is still a kid's show, no punching, only horrible burnings and blunt force trauma deaths, and explosions.
Would His Royal Highness like a cherry berry lemonade?
Is cherry berry another fusion plant like tomato carrot, or is it just 2 ingredients in the lemonade? Well, maybe actually it's berry lemon that's the fusion. Hold on, let me think.
Look at you. You're so weak, woo down is your catchphrase.
It's still better than do the thing.
I'm not like you, Mako. I wasn't raised by a pack of tops in the woods.
Write that down for the old patron shoutouts, thanks, Woo.
Well, I'm asking now. What's your favorite food? What's your favorite color? Is there a special lady in your life?
Not since Kora and I broke up.
It would be a pretty interesting beat for a character like Mako for him to still be really hung up over Kora, you know, because he's this cool, badass, understated guy. Especially since he seems so flippant with the idea of breaking up with a girl when the topic was brought up with his brother. This moment maybe hints at the idea that he's still really hung up on it, but the show never really touches on it past this, so oh well. A guy can dream for interesting character writing.
Bolin and I were playing for the Fire Ferrets.
You were a pro bender?
Yes.
Yeah, they do the whole chibi head commentary thing, which is why I've dreaded this one so much. The commentary thing is my shtick. Usually I don't have to directly compete with the show.
So once I became a pro bender, I wanted it all. Riches, fame, accolades. But all that changed when
Fire Nation attacked.
Mako? Wow, I heard you play on the radio.
Come on, Bolin, we're up.
Whoa, that was the first time you met? Kind of rude there, buddy.
You know what else is rude? Interrupt.
Good job, guys. Saved about 5 seconds of animation on this one. Every little bit counts.
And a loyal friend. She helped me save Bolin when he was taken by the Equalists. After going through such a crazy experience, I felt like Kora and I had a powerful connection.
Right. Rewrite the first season so that Mako felt like they had a connection after that. Genius, honestly.
Wow. That was...
Wait, that was the first thing you said to Asami? You really gotta work on your introductions.
Yeah, this supermodel chick hit me with her moped, and then she asked me out to dinner at this super expensive place, and when I...
Hot dog! Smooch City, here we come! You player.
Whoa, I thought you were dating Asami.
2! Get out of here!
No, he's right! Fuck you! Don't show the moment. Don't you show the moment.
I wasn't dating Asami.
Denial!
Okay, maybe I was dating her. It was all very confusing. But my feelings for Kora became clear.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Oof, I bet Asami wasn't too happy about that.
I've noticed how you treat Kora. How you acted when she was missing.
I love that, like, sure, Mako's romantic exploits were a big part of his character in the first 2 seasons, but it was certainly one of the weakest parts of the show. But if you're gonna do this recap from Mako's perspective, what other angle can you really take? Mako's not much of a character on his own. The only real through line between seasons is his hectic romantics with Kora and Asami. So you kinda have to tell it through this lens, and that's why it's so funny Mako's recap just stops after season 2. Because, like, what the hell did he do in season 3? And Wu, the guy he's telling the story to, already knows the events from season 4. However, I think genuinely season 4 has probably placed Mako in the best spot he's ever been in. It's not like season 3 where he's just there and does nearly nothing, and it's not like seasons 1 and 2 where he's causing drama and confusion and being mad at characters we like. Now he's in this friggin' comedy duo with Wu, and he gets to be mad at him, which works.
I know. Don't tell me. I had no right kissing Asami.
No, actually, I'm completely fine with that. You officially broke up with Kora, and therefore you're free to smooch whoever you wish.
Usually, I would agree, Wu, but it was like 48 hours later. A little grace period is necessary in my head.
No, it wasn't that bad.
Whoa. So you were back with Asami, but then Korra came back and thought you guys were still together and you didn't tell her you weren't?
Up until now, Wu and everyone else has just been a floating chibi head. Yeah, and the same thing with Tu, too. I mean, the same thing with Tu as well. But they have shoulders in their little bubble here this time because they have to do this high five gag in a second here.
High five!
Well, me and Asami were never officially back together.
Really? That again? You know, it seems like you're so afraid to disappoint anyone that you end up disappointing everyone.
Incredible technology for back in the day. They somehow got Tu to speak directly through the screen to you with that line. You ever notice how dusty it is in this shot? Can we get some air movement in here? Some ventilation?
After harmonic convergence, the world changed. Team Avatar traveled around searching for new airbenders.
Like, see what I mean? Mako just drops harmonic convergence like it's no big deal. Maybe Wu already knows about it, but like, you don't want to go into the time you had to battle against the spirit of ultimate evil and the guy who was trying to become the Dark Avatar. Fly right on past that. That's not interesting. Let's keep talking about the girls I blew it with over and over.
But then I realized I had to figure out who I was without a lady in my life.
So true. Why didn't Bolin do that? Even you doing it would have been cool if we ever put a spotlight on it. It's an interesting angle.
I eventually helped Kora defeat Zahir and save the airbenders, and we did it as friends. Kora showed me
Yep, just blow right past that too.
Kora showed me the importance of putting others before myself, and whenever I think of her, she continues to inspire me.
I guess that's a fine enough lesson to glean from Kora. At this point, I'd say she embodies that idea pretty well, which is certainly not where she started.
Okay, come at me. I can take it.
Mako punches Wu in the hand here, which is also just like really fucked up. I can't believe Nickelodeon put that through. Kora's cliff gazebo, a very comfy spot for Kora's pastime of cliff pondering.
I brought you some tea. I thought you might be cold out here.
You're so sweet. Thanks.
Uncle, I've been thinking.
Asami makes Kora tea. Kora likes tea.
She told me that the world doesn't need me, and it's basically pointless to try to stop Kuvira.
This would be a good time for me to finally tackle that thought since they say it so bluntly, but what, you think I'm gonna blow that paragraph for Remembrances? Get out of here, I've been holding on to that one for like a year.
But no matter what I do, the world seems to always be out of balance.
These clips also make me think like, wow, season 1 of Korra looked good. Like, good.
Your firebending is gone.
What if we, now just stay with me here. What do you guys think?
No!
A side effect of this being a clip show makes me relive all of the moments that bewildered me. Why didn't this also take her airbending? You know how many comments I got saying you do have to unlock bending and it's not just an inherent thing to the person despite all of the proof otherwise? Totally unrelated, you know how many comments I got saying that vegetarianism in air nomad society before the war was actually a cultural thing? There's literally only one piece of evidence to go off of, and that's Aang using it as a qualifying statement to another airbender. A character that it wouldn't make any sense to say it to if it was culturally expected for you to be one.
I know, I'm even a vegetarian.
Aang says this because he's like, I know, check it out, I'm even a vegetarian. Like it's an extra step to respecting life that others around him didn't do. And once again, I only talk about the shows, usually. I don't care if Kyoshi blew someone's head up with brain bending in her second book, and then there was an airbender sitting next to her eating a salad that said, we are all vegetarians. That shit does not matter to me. This point is rapidly changing into something that it wasn't at the start.
People had hope again, and it was all because of you.
And I was hopeful too. But that feeling didn't last long. As soon as I defeated Amon, a new enemy took his place.
Honestly, from Korra's perspective at the start of the show, you'd think she'd want new villains to take each other's places, like in an extremely selfish, subconscious kind of way. What good is it being the most powerful being on the planet with the mindset of early Korra and not having anyone to throw your strength up against?
Because of Unalaq, I betrayed Tenzin, opened the portals, and threw the spirit and human worlds into chaos.
Yeah, for like 10 minutes though.
With Rava gone, Unalaq and Vatu became more powerful than ever.
But you became more powerful too. I mean, you turned into a giant spirit.
I know, right? What the fuck was that?
You brought back the airbenders and caused a positive shift in the world.
Yes, but Zahir got airbending too and nearly killed me.
Korra's whole vibe during her recap is one of defeatedness and unsuredness, which makes a lot of sense. She was in this terrible place, and after she thought she got her groove back, she got whooped. So her being in this bad mental spot works. At the same time, it's also like, come on, man, you're just fishing for compliments from the girl you like, making her say a bunch of nice things to you. You ain't slick.
But the important thing is to learn from your enemies and better yourself over time, which you have.
I'll give it to you, Tenzin. I agree, and I think this last bit of characterization for Korra to put her in this down-and-out place has been done pretty well and has been effective. Korra alone did some major work for her. But when we look back at Season 2, I still can't get over the feeling that that season did some major irreparable damage to Korra's arc. Korra just changes on a dime for no real reason other than the magic old man told her to, and that's after she was the most immature and selfish she'd ever been. I like Korra a lot more in the latter half of the show, and that's certainly not a coincidence. They were going for that. It's on purpose. Korra was given unlikable traits early early on so she could grow past them. Now, the question is, was that a good idea? If you give a character traits like passiveness, nervousness, and shame, and you have them grow past them into traits like assertiveness, confidence, and responsibility, that's obviously going to feel good watching it as a viewer, because everyone has experience where the character starts, and everyone can appreciate growing past those things and hope for them for themselves. But if a character starts in a place that's dismissive, cocky, and hot-headed, and then grows out of those things to be thoughtful, modest, and level-headed, it's harder to vibe with that character, because their character arc is just getting to where most people would find them to be acceptable, not growing to become a great person, but growing to become an acceptable person. So I'd say it's a character arc that's a lot harder to pull off and have people really end up loving the character. So I mean, stick tap for giving it a real shot. An example like Sokka is interesting, because he starts as this asshole, but then the thing is that he rapidly leaves those traits behind. Korra, unfortunately, is mired in these unlikable traits to varying levels of severity for the first 20 episodes of the show, so it's a lot harder to forget. I think they do well with Korra, the character, I really do, but there are some pretty fundamental parts of how the story is told that I think holds her character back.
I know this Kuvira problem is only going to get worse.
You do? As far as you know, problem's over. Like, you lost, but problem's over. I guess maybe you want to rescue Sue. Want to hear a crazy observation about this episode? Mako's segment takes up about 10 minutes, Bolin and Veric's segment takes up about 7, and Kora, our main character, and certainly the character that has the most going on at the moment, her commentary segment takes up about 5 minutes. Why? Maybe they already thought that they got Korra's feelings out in Korra alone and didn't want to retread it?
I made a solemn vow never to eat bark onion soup again.
It's crazy that bark is the less gross of those two ingredients.
Bolin, as Nuktuk, hero of the South. Trademark Vera Movers International. Bolin, hero of the world!
Wait, am I playing Nuktuk or is Nuktuk playing me?
Both. It's your true story, but we'll capitalize on the audience of the Nuktuk franchise.
Wait, hold on. He just described the legend of Korra.
The story of Bolin begins in an exotic port of call.
Alright, here comes one of my best ones ever. You ready? This is the second time a port of call is mentioned in Avatar.
Just give me 10 minutes to check the merchants at this port of call.
I try to teach a Swami the power of levitation, but he's too stupid to understand it, so I kick him out. Upon whom can I bestow my awesome knowledge?
Maybe this is the very episode that soured me on Veric, because surely on my first watch through a decade ago I wasn't so dejected and jaded, right? But they really up the Veric goofiness pretty hard here. I've gotten comments saying they want me to do an Airbender abridged, which never made sense to me. Airbender is a pretty tight story overall, not a lot you can really abridge there. But maybe someone could pull off a Veric pitching adventures as movies kind of spin to a YouTube series. That might work. There's the alley-oop pass, someone take it.
Oh, come on! I wasn't singing, you were not levitating, and Asami is just a friend, thank you very much.
Bosami? Aslan?
This place is even more amazing than I imagined.
Name's Bolin, by the way.
Korra.
Boring! When does the singing start?
I know, right? You guys ever see Rent? There's like 10 minutes of no singing in that movie, and it makes it even more unbearable than the singing parts.
So, the trouble begins when the Avatar is trapped in the spirit world.
This really is the worst one. It's just a bunch of XD random nonsense. Not a lot to comment on. It's just silly, so probably gonna blow through this part pretty fast.
They're led by Zahir, leader of the Red Lotus and master of the skies.
The idea that Zahir is leading the team of villains and not Turbo Lucifer is funny, though. I'll give you that.
Glad I caught you at home.
Oh, very funny.
Now, they obviously have Henry Rollins on board for this season because Zahir's back, and Amon is on this very boat this story is being told on, but I don't know, they couldn't get Vatu's voice actor back, or is the fact that it's so understated part of the joke?
Can we please not include...
Not include who, Amon?
The evil Unalak, the diabolical but incredibly boring and unpopular sorcerer from the north.
They've done it. The Great Divide joke, too. Honestly, the in-universe equivalent to the Ember Island Players would truly be a Veric film recapping the series in a funny way. Shame that probably would have been a really expensive episode to do, so I guess we just settle for the pitch.
He met a fetching airbender, the heir to a vast Earth Kingdom fortune.
Opal? So smart and caring.
Oh yeah, the chibi heads are back. They didn't do it for the Korra part for some reason, despite definitely already having the art. I guess that one was more serious, so maybe it would have clashed.
There's only one thing for you to do if you want to save the Avatar and defeat the fearsome foursome.
Could you imagine the fearsome foursome versus the fearsome foursome?
The fearsome foursome!
You're crazy.
Why? We're fearsome!
You have to assemble the fightingest airbender army of all time!
Well, that's gonna be pretty easy.
So, about that evil plan to destroy Nuktuk? Hello?
Me when all my friends go to the secret anti-overanalyzing Avatar Discord call. Oh. I've decided it's Cherry Berry after all.
And she kisses Bolin, magically passing on the airbender power of flight!
Okay, that part seems a little unbelievable.
I think they explain it well enough, but then we fast forward to the new series and the untethering from your earthly attachments rule actually turns out to not be a rule and you can do it whenever you want, and then we have a problem.
But Bolin doesn't realize that the Universal Interplanetary Combination 0 Hour...
I ain't even lying. They should have called it that.
The beams accidentally fly into the magic spirit doorway! They bounce off Batu, setting him free, and hit Bolin, turning him into a giant!
This is what I'm saying. Anyone could have done that giant blue spirit thing. It's kind of messed up they didn't.
But thankfully, Bolin's spiritual mojo is so strong that he attracts the Queen of the Fairies.
This actually makes more sense than what actually happened. I can follow this better. Yeah, I mean, what do you want me to say? It's not a great episode, obviously. There's no interesting character moments. There's no cool action. They try to capture the vibe of the Ember Island players, obviously, but the humor isn't really there either. It was a necessary evil for people to keep their jobs, so I get it and I respect it, but I'm not going to call it good. Patron shoutouts if you want to see the next 2 episodes of Overanalyzing Korra ahead of the YouTube releases. You can support me on Patreon for just a few bucks. Link, as always, is in the description below the video. Biggest shoutouts of all go to my top patrons, a flock of plain cakes who has the uncanny ability to always draw an ace, even in a deck that doesn't have any. A2AX Phoenix, who I saw win a fencing tournament using a candy cane shiv. Anthony Collins, who can just straight up speak to lizards, but they're all pretty annoying. Jacob Glickman, who astoundingly not only survived a direct encounter with the orb, but also the machine. Kevin Bartlin, who was so socially intelligent he once solved a murder mystery based on how a guy was leaning. Lewis Williams, who won a court case after defying the laws of physics. Liquor Cause I Know Her, who once won a game of bobbing for apples by coming back up with a 5-pound diamond no one knew was in there. Midnight Balsams, whose entire life was prophesized by a series of stained glass windows I found in the woods. Knights by Satire, who accidentally became endarkened on their journey to enlightenment. It's not so bad though, you can hear people's thoughts. Tater of Tots, who has a magnetic personality. Literally, if they tell a joke, everything metal in a small radius hurtles towards them. And that one Turian, who used to have a sleep paralysis demon, but it gave up after meeting their normal, totally awake demon. And of course, my other fuck you money patrons, Blanco, Cameron Lowry, Gene Tree, Lane Brandon, LMT the RMT, Matthew Lang, Potato Scream, The Form Meaning of Life, The 1AM Party, Vector, and Whitrow. And of course, my god overanalyzers, Two Boots Are Beat, Ang, Alan Garvin, Andrew Watchett, Anzio Ruiz, Oropataro, Blade Dancer, Chandler Crump, Cosmic Newbie, Derek Chapman, Dr. Xerox, Dominic State, Emma, Aaron Grace, Fire Lizard 44, I'm a Match, Jackson, Jeremy Rubenstein, Jimith, JCare4215, John Warhammer, Justin Scott, Mac, Matthew Lang, Michael Fellon, Mitchell Gobrecht, Nick, Nicholas Abbott, Peter Bandera, Peter Bayron, Pogger White, Rocket Mist, Ryan Maxwell, St. Charlie, Scoobert, Silk Toast, Marty, Princess Useless Backwards, Super Snipper, That Blind Ginger, Totoro Bobo's Musical Emporium, and some sort of bear face. I don't know. Next up, Zahir of all people. Could you believe it?